Did you know that since the 1970s, average sperm counts have declined by more than 50%? And we now know that male factor infertility contributes to around 40% or more of all infertility cases. Today, I'm speaking with a special guest to try and understand why this is happening and, more importantly, what men can do about it. That's all coming up on today's episode.
Welcome to Your Journey to Fertility. This is the podcast that blends both science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Here each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so you can stop stressing that you'll never have a baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast.
Welcome back to the Your Journey to Fertility podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We've got a really big and important conversation coming up for you. So I don't know if you've seen any of the stats on social media posts over the last couple of years about the declining rates in male fertility, but if you look closely, the figures are alarming. I remember when my husband and I were trying to conceive and, he went to get his semen analysis done, as you do. And I remember looking at the normal healthy range for the sperm counts, which is written on the pathology reports, and thinking, wow, an average range is something like, 15 to 40 million or something per milliliters. And that's considered average. And I thought that sounds like a crazy amount. It's like, how could you need that many? But what I didn't realize is that in the 1970s, these averages were at around 100 million. And even more frightening, instead of addressing this global issue, health departments from around the world just decided to change the parameters so that now the average results are reflective of just much poorer samples. But this is doing absolutely nothing for those struggling with infertility because we know that 40% of couples seeking treatment now will be due to male factor issues. So what on earth are we supposed to do about this? Today, I am speaking with an expert on all things male fertility, Saara Jamieson. Saara is a scientist and a medical researcher who is also the founder of Cool Beans Underwear. This is the first trademarked male fertility underwear brand worldwide. After trying to fall pregnant for over 3.5 years and spending thousands of dollars, Saara and her partner developed this breakthrough in men's fertility health and designed a product which can increase sperm health and without having to go through invasive procedures or expensive treatments. And from this, Saara and her husband ended up having 2 children naturally. This conversation was mind-blowing to me. The stats that Saara goes into are frightening. But on the flip side, there is so much that you can do to support male fertility. And a lot of it is really, really simple. This is a must listen for anyone who is trying to conceive. So let's get into it. Here is Saara. Saara, welcome to the podcast. We have so much to cover today, and I'm really excited for this conversation because you are just full of information that every person with testicles needs to know, and anyone who is trying to conceive with said person needs to know. So welcome. Can we start by learning a little bit about you and what you do?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Saara Jamieson. I am the CEO, founder, and co-inventor of Cool Beans Underwear. Before launching on this venture, I was a medical researcher in colorectal cancer, and I underwent my own infertility journey, which is how this venture came to be.
And the journey of how it came to be is a really interesting one. Do you mind sharing how Cool Beans came about?
Of course. So, like many couples probably listening to this today, we struggled with infertility. My husband and I got married. We started trying straight away for a family. We wanted a big family. And on my 29th birthday, I actually had my first miscarriage, which was devastating, as it is for so many people. It is 1 in 4 for women that will miscarry. So shortly after that, I started seeing my obstetrician, started seeking help, advice. What can we do? I went through every exploratory procedure, which is incredibly painful, some of them, to try and investigate why we weren't able to conceive. My husband got his sperm tested and he was just above average, which when you actually look at the numbers isn't great today. Back in the 1970s, the average male had 99 million sperm in 1 mil of ejaculate. In 2011, the numbers had dropped from 99 to 48 million, and today they're more likely to be around the 25 million, sorry. And so when you say you're just above average, it's actually looking really poor if you're looking at it historically. So being a scientist by trade, we knew there was a lot of improvement that could be done. And we wanted to optimize his sperm health. So the doctors were like, we don't know why you can't conceive. We don't know why you're miscarrying. Let's start you on all the fertility drugs and see what happens. We started on all the fertility drugs. Nothing was happening. I tried to purchase some fertility underwear for my husband, only to discover it doesn't exist. We started talking about, what would the underwear sort of have to do? But, life gets busy. We were trying to conceive for a baby, emotions were high. I was on this emotional roller coaster. And we both worked full time. It wasn't until after my second miscarriage that I came home and actually found my husband sitting on the couch with an old pair of underwear and some mosquito netting, actually trying to create something. He was sick and tired of being on the sidelines. He felt incredibly isolated and alone, that he wasn't part of the conversation. I started to keep everything from him, so I didn't want to burden him with the pain and suffering that I was going through. I thought I was helping our relationship. But it was that afternoon, I still remember it vividly, and that is when I realized the impact that our infertility journey was having on him. It's not just my burden to carry, it was also his. And he created the very first prototype, I guess you could call it that, which I very quickly then stepped in and do what I do and started to do a deep dive into understanding male fertility, anatomy and physiology, and what is it about traditional underwear that is hindering fertility. And once we had sort of unpacked all of that data, there's so much scientific literature out there completely understanding this problem, but no one has come up with a solution for it. We knew very easily what we had to create, what the underwear had to do. So we created our first prototype that was wearable, I should say, our first wearable prototype. And 4 months later, we actually conceived with our son, Van, who is now 7. And second time round, we literally had intercourse once and conceived our daughter, Heidi. So after 3.5 years of struggling with infertility, the procedures except IVF, so I went through IUIs and nothing. And then, we developed cool beans and we were finally able to conceive, which is very exciting. And we're so excited to bring our product now to the market and share it with other couples that are wanting to conceive. Because when you actually start looking at the stats around male fertility and sperm health, as I've just explained, it's super scary. But what a lot of people don't realize is they think sperm health is literally for conception and that's it. And it's not. It's a leading cause for miscarriages. But also, if you start looking at the anxiety and the health of our children now, that's starting to diminish. There's a lot more people, a lot more children, who are suffering with anxiety, and they're having intellectual, emotional, physical disabilities. And a lot of this has to do with the age of the father and the health of his sperm.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Saara. It's a great story. And to think that you were able to conceive quite easily twice after making a really simple change, I think is something we all overlook. Because as you said, as soon as you are having trouble with fertility, the first point of call is how many procedures and tests can we do on the woman? And we'll run a basic semen analysis. And then it's pretty much all down to woman's getting older, it's an egg quality issue, et cetera, et cetera. But like you said, the stats are frightening when it comes to sperm health these days. So what is it that has contributed for, a nearly 80% reduction in average sperm health and quality since the 1970s?
So there are so many things that can affect fertility. It's what we eat, it's the chemicals, plastics, they're all having a significant impact, but they are really hard to combat. But BMI and testicular heat are factors that we can actually action today and actually be proactive about. So with BMI, just societally, our BMI is increasing. So as your BMI increases, so does your infertility. You don't just put on fat in your body, you also put on a layer of fat around your testes, further insulating and causing that testicular heat to increase. But not only that, when your BMI increases, and now this isn't always in just fatter people or larger people, but also very muscly men. They have much larger thighs. And so this is a very large contributing factor to testicular heat. So when a man is seated, the testes fall between the thighs and they get insulated between the thighs. And the larger the thighs, the more the insulating effect is. And so the science now shows that a male only needs to sit for a mere 20 minutes on a padded office chair, even less when in a car. And that is now long enough to heat his testes to a point to stop sperm production. And you think about how many men are sitting for hours of the day, whether that be at home, at work, on public transport, and how many people do that for a career, whether they're a taxi driver, courier, pilot, a miner. It's devastating. And now there's research that shows that white-collar workers like lawyers, bankers, have a much higher infertility rate than labourers or men that may stand predominantly for work.
Isn't that a good point? So what is it about heat that is such a problem for sperm health?
So there's two factors or two main factors. So essentially, heat is really detrimental to testosterone production. So, and testosterone production is essential to produce sperm. So essentially, sperm is a byproduct of testosterone production. If you're not producing testosterone, you will not produce sperm. And that's also a big problem for men who take artificial testosterone. So if you're taking artificial testosterone, please stop. You are making yourself completely infertile. But testicular heat directly impacts testosterone production. So if that diminishes, your sperm health is also going to diminish. But not only that, now when sperm is fully matured, it then goes into the epididymis, which is a part in the testes that stores the sperm, and it stays there until it gets ejaculated. And during that time, if you've got testicular heat that is having an impact on the epididymis, that is going to start to break down the sperm DNA. So you're going to end up with DNA fragmentation, bad morphology, lots of things like that. So you just need to really, it's a two-pronged effect. Not only are you producing less sperm, but you're going to be breaking down the DNA and causing defects in the sperm that's already been produced. So if you can optimize that testicular heat or reduce that testicular heat and keep it within the optimal range, you're going to increase your testosterone production. So you're going to feel happier, healthier, have increase in your erections, your libido, and all of your muscle development in so many other physiological ways. You're going to feel better and you're going to perform better, but then you're also going to have more sperm as well as healthier sperm.
And if you're thinking about traditional men's underwear, obviously this is not something I've ever had to worry about when I go to the shops, but there are a lot of different types. And you would think that some would be better than others when it came to reducing heat. So can you explain what the problem is with the various options that are available to men?
So I would not say there is some options are better, but there are options that are less worse. There is no good option on the market, which is why we had to develop Cool Beans. So let's just start with traditional, normal Y-brief underwear or Y-briefs or trunks, anything like that. Essentially, the scrotum is held up next to the body, absorbing the body's core temperature. And then when seated, the scrotum falls down and gets insulated by the thighs. All of your athletic or cooling underwear. So Bonds have their version, Bonds X Temp, and there's Trey's version, and there's like almost every brand has their cooling underwear now available. And the way they get their cooling properties, yes, they will keep the skin superficially cooler than in normal underwear. But the way they get their cooling properties is by using polyester. And polyester has been scientifically proven to damage and kill sperm cells. So essentially, the polyester fibers interact with the scrotal hairs, causing an electrostatic field, which then causes these tiny little micro-sized waves to penetrate into the testes, damaging and killing sperm cells. Essentially, think of when you pull a polyester t-shirt out of the dryer and that static electricity. That's what's happening around your testes. And then people go, fine, okay, I will wear loose-fitting boxes or I'll just go commando. Again, not the solution. With living sedentary lifestyles, obviously, when you're seated, still the testes are going to fall between the thighs, having that insulating effect. But now you have another problem, is that the muscles in the scrotum are now no longer strong enough to support the weight of the testes, so you're getting muscle strain throughout the scrotum. So that's going to increase blood flow down to the scrotum to repair that damage. So now you're getting an increase in warm blood flow, which is increasing testicular heat, but now you're also at risk of developing varicoceles, which is essentially varicose veins on your scrotum, which then essentially in most cases will cause you to be infertile because of that testicular heat. So as you can see, there is no solution, especially for fertility and for scrotal health in wearing traditional underwear.
The polyester thing just absolutely threw me, because how many men would not even consider that? How, like, oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I think that it isn't anything that we ever question, because it's just what we've grown up with and it's what everyone wears and everyone uses. And at no point have we stopped to say, what is this doing to us? And gosh, like you said, it's just such a simple thing. Can you talk a little bit more about varicoceles and like how that comes about and how that is a problem for fertility? And can something like Cool Beans actually support or reverse it, or is it only via surgery?
So that's pretty much like asking how long is a piece of string. It is, every person is going to be individual and unique. So obviously with varicoceles, you have that increased blood flow, which is causing testicular heat to increase. So wearing something like Cool Beans is going to testicular heat, but it may not, depending on the severity, may not reduce that testicular heat enough to improve your sperm health to where it needs to be fertile. So I would definitely recommend seeing your doctor and seeing whether it needs to be treated or not. With regards to the development of varicoceles occurring, wearing a supportive underwear like Cool Beans is definitely going to assist in preventing, but it may not completely prevent, because, you know, any type of testicular injury can be genetics. Like, why do some women get varicose veins on their legs but other women don't? So genetics does have a large part to play in it. If you get a knock to the testes, that can cause varicoceles to happen, as well as your sedentary lifestyle, what you eat. There's lots of things that can contribute, but wearing something that's supportive and trying to avoid that scrotal damage to occur is going to help assist in preventing it occurring, but it will not completely prevent it.
Got it. So I know we're on a podcast, so you're probably very good at explaining this, but can you describe how Cool Beans actually works then? Like, how is it different? How does it help?
So Cool Beans, essentially, so it is patented. So it is a completely new design of underwear. Nothing like this exists. And so essentially there is a penis flap at the front, which cups the penis so it can't fall down, into an external elasticized mesh pouch that houses the scrotum. So what that allows is, being an elasticized mesh pouch, it allows that easy dissipation of heat and sweat, but that pouch actually comes up and attaches to the waistband. So it gently elevates and brings forward the scrotum. So when you sit down now, the scrotum can't fall between the thighs and can't be insulated, therefore allowing that testicular heat to expel, as well as allowing the male to remain incredibly comfortable. So not only is Cool Beans going to be beneficial for your health, but it's also very, very comfortable. We're getting a huge amount of repeat customers because of the comfortability of the garment.
I know one of the questions that I get a lot from the partners of the women that I work with is around exercise and sport. And, there's so much debate about, what sports are good for testicular health and which aren't, etc. So do Cool Beans kind of work when it comes to sport? And can you explain in a little bit more detail about sports and testicular health in general?
Yes. So it's a very controversial one. What should you do and what shouldn't you do? So if you're cycling, give it up for while you're trying to conceive. Once you've conceived, you can go back to it. But cycling is by far the worst sport that you can do for your fertility. Wearing Cool Beans underneath your gear is going to be beneficial because it will, as I said, hold the scrotum forward. So you're not getting the impact between the body and the saddle as if you were wearing no underwear. We don't recommend that you do very high intensity workouts like a HIIT workout or go run a marathon or train for a marathon. You want to keep that regular exercise going, but nothing that's going to increase body temperature drastically high. So it's great to keep moving, great to do weights, go for a light jog, go for a walk with your partner, go swimming, but nothing that's going to really cause your body to go to those extreme temperatures. Because again, especially in traditional underwear, the scrotum is going to absorb those core body temperatures, which is why if you look at our elite athletes, they have much higher infertility rates and will usually only be able to father a daughter because of the high temperatures that their bodies consistently run at, and therefore causing their testicular health to diminish.
That's amazing. What scary statistics they are. And it has such an impact that we don't even realize. So with running, is something like Cool Beans still going to be enough to support that kind of exercise?
We do recommend, if you're running, to wear Cool Beans, but then also wear proper running shorts that have the inner net lining. That's going to give a little bit additional support to the scrotum. Cool Beans is designed as an everyday underwear, so there is a little bit of movement in there to allow the scrotum to retract and extend how physiologically intended. So if you are doing some high impact activities, we do recommend wearing something that is going to give a little bit more support. But it is very, very beneficial to still wear your Cool Beans because you're not getting the testes don't have the opportunity, I should say, to absorb the body's core temperature because of the scrotum now being external, essentially, to the underwear.
Got it. And what about men who have to go through surgeries of any kind, whether it is a varicocele or whether it's something else? Is something like Cool Beans going to help in terms of recovery? How would it work in that kind of a situation?
Oh, most definitely. So we are actually working with some urologists around the country where they recommend it for their patients because of, one, you've got the scrotal support. So if you're having any type of procedure to the scrotum or to the penis, if you're having penis surgeries, they tend to wrap the penis and keep it upwards, which is how it's designed to sit in Cool Beans. And then obviously having the support and the elevation from the scrotal pouch is going to benefit for any scrotal injuries, but also it allows you to easily heat or ice your testes as required or penis because everything's held up and elevated forward whereas wearing traditional underwear, it's between the thighs. It makes it very difficult to actually ice yourself.
Yeah. So my last couple of questions are around this is all very dark and gloomy. So let's talk about, some light at the end of the tunnel here. There are a lot of factors that can contribute to poor sperm health. Obviously, we talk about count, but there's also morphology, motility, etc. And how much of our lifestyle will contribute to improving these factors? Is there actually a lot that we can do?
It's amazing to know that science has actually put a number on that 70% of male infertility can be improved through lifestyle factors. The remaining 30% is due to anatomy or genetic conditions, anything like that, which you may still be able to possibly, through a biopsy, actually extract some sperm directly from the testes. But with regards to what can you improve, absolutely everything. You can increase your sperm count, your motility, your morphology. Everything can be optimized through lifestyle factors. Drinking alcohol, smoking, how nutritious your food is, how many antioxidants are you eating? That is a big one. And then obviously testicular heat is another one. A couple of little key things that people don't think about that do drastically improve your fertility can be only buy oil in glass bottles, no plastic bottles. Tin food, so your baked beans, spaghetti, tin tomatoes, those really acidic foods. Always try and buy your tin foods as organic because of the plastic lining inside the cans. And also, if you are one to buy takeaway coffee, drink coffee through the plastic lids. Always remove those plastic lids before you are drinking your hot coffee, because just the hot liquid passing through those plastic lids will actually pull the chemicals in the plastics and you'll ingest them. That's the same if you're ordering like Chinese takeout or anything like that. Ask them to leave them in a dish and you will bring a glass container to put them into. These are all just very little things that we do every day that we don't think about that can have a large impact on your just your everyday general health, not always just your fertility.
They're really amazing tips, Sarah. Thank you. Now, I'm sure everyone can gather by your accent that you are based in Australia, just like I am. But is Cool Beans available worldwide? Can you tell us how we can find them?
Yes, Cool Beans is available globally, but we are an Australian startup invention, which is super exciting. We've been trying to, the world has been trying to invent something for years, for generations, and it's come down to an Australian company to actually create something. So I'm super proud to be Australian and to be doing my part towards male fertility. But yes, we are available on our e-commerce store. So just www.coolbeansunderwear.com.
Amazing. Thank you. And I have to point out before we finish up that anyone listening to this can access a 10% discount on all their purchases by using my code. And I will put the link to all of that in the show notes so people can jump through, click to your website and grab what they need at a discount. So thank you for generously offering that to everyone as well, Saara. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you want to share or leave people with? I mean, I know that male fertility is a huge one. We know that it's probably 50% of cases that it is affecting these days. So is there anything that you would like to leave people with before we finish up?
I would, because I feel like it's been a lot of doom and gloom and negativity on this during this chat. But it's there are so many things that we can do to help enhance our chances. But this is for all the men out there to give you a little bit extra motivation. The science now shows that men need to be ejaculating every 3 days to optimize their sperm health and their chances for conception. So you want to be out with the old, in with the new, keep replenishing those healthy sperm and not allowing, and again, that's storing in the epididymis, not allowing damage to occur once the sperm has been developed and is being stored. So a lot of couples, when they're trying to conceive, they think they need to build up that amount of sperm to have more ejaculate to help with the chances of conception. That is not true. It is every 3 days you should be trying to ejaculate, and on normal, obviously depends on the female, they will sort of ovulate on day 14. Sperm can survive for up to 6 days within the uterus. So please, during that window of fertility, make sure you keep trying every 2 days during that window. And then outside that window, every 3 days, just keep trying and having fun with it. Try not to get bogged down on it becoming a chore. I know it's tough. I've been there, and it did become a chore for us. But I think once we developed Cool Beans and we had something to look forward to and that hope, it did rekindle our relationship, and we came back together, and we're now been married for 11 years and have 2 beautiful children who are 5 and 7, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else, and this is the most amazing adventure that I'm on right now, and I wish everyone who's listening to this the best of luck on your adventure, and that's what you should think of it, as an adventure. It has its ups and downs, but it is what you make of it, and I'm thinking of you all, and I hope to see you at our store.
Thank you so much, Saara. That's awesome. And who would have thought your husband would end up as an underwear model? But he has. So
I know.
lucky him, lucky you.
Lucky me.
Thank you so, so much for your time today. If anyone has any questions about the products or about everything we've spoken about today, what's the best way to find and contact you?
Yes, just email me. My email box is always open to anyone that may have any questions. So it's Saara, SAARA, at coolbeansunderwear.com.
Amazing. Thank you again for your time. And I look forward to hearing so much more about improvements in the future, Saara. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. I still can't believe some of the stats around male fertility and the things that Saara went through are important for every man and every couple to know. So if this is a conversation and something that you found helpful, share it with someone and help us get the word out to as many people as possible, because you just never know who may be struggling. As Saara mentioned, if you would like to try Cool Beans underwear, head over to her website, which is coolbeans.underwear.com, and use the code ELEMENT10 at checkout for 10% off all purchases. You can also find a link to those in the show notes. Now, on the next episode of the podcast, I am speaking to the wonderful Spencer Bassard, who is a very well-known life and fertility coach who has just released an incredible new book which guides you through harnessing the power of the mind-body connection to get pregnant, something that I am so passionate about. So can't wait to have you back then. Until then, I am sending you all my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility. The most common thing I hear from students who are on their fertility journey is that the stress of trying to conceive has taken over their life. Your days end up being filled with endless appointments, navigating pregnancy announcements. You're trying to eat right, take all your supplements, and it is all you think about from the moment you wake up. I designed the Element Fertility Yoga course to support your body, your mind, and your mental health in 3 important ways: to synchronize your hormones, increase circulation and blood flow, and to help regulate your nervous system. But on top of this, the greatest gift that you can give yourself throughout this journey is a sense of peace, to help you calm your mind and just make this process feel easier. Every single one of my students tell me that this is the first thing they notice after starting a yoga, meditation, and breathwork practice. But on top of this, you have the amazing benefit of actually supporting and increasing your fertility. Studies have shown that those participating in mind-body programs as they're trying to conceive have success rates 3 times greater than those who don't. The course I've designed walks you through natural conception as well as fertility treatments and IVF cycles. And the best part is you can work through it at your own pace in the comfort of your home. The practices start from just 10 minutes per day. To learn more, visit elementpilatesyoga.com or see the link in the show notes.